Hello, my name's Iain Hamilton. I'm a Field Technical Manager with Syngenta. I'm here in Oxfordshire at one of our new innovation centres on a windy day in January. So 2012-2013 harvests have been completely different. The weather has of course been the major driving factor. The first year we had a very wet spring and summer and into the autumn, which affected establishment for the 2013 harvest crops. Spring 2013 started off very cold, didn't really get going until April and May, which has had significant impact both on managing those crops, disease levels, etc. Yield at the end of the day has been very difficult to predict, which in turn has led to difficulties in farm finances. Coming into this spring, the issues we're going to have to manage are clearly different than we had last year. The obvious ones would be with more forward crops, growth regulator and how to keep the crops standing. But there are also issues in the background that perhaps we didn't see last year that we're going to have to pay careful attention to. Things like septoria resistance to the triazoles, yellow rust in crops. There is a large proportion of the varieties of wheat out there which are very susceptible to yellow rust, and we've already had many reports of yellow rust infecting crops even in the autumn. So equally in barley, we have some crops coming into the season which are already very forward. Some have already got levels of disease in, and indeed some have already had a fungicide application. This will need managing protectively going forward to optimise the return on these crops. So the key going into this season is prevention. Prevention is better than cure. That means both in terms of fungicide programs and also growth regulator programs. So for instance in wheat, where we now have lost the ability for fungicides to cure high levels of septoria, we have to front load our fungicide programs to ensure that septoria doesn't get into the crops and we end up chasing it during the season. Similarly, we may have yellow rust to contend with, so early season control of that, preventing it getting established in the crop, is also going to be important. So following two very difficult seasons, coming into 2014 gives us the opportunity to optimise our crop protection programs, adopting a preventative approach to help us maximise our crop potential and ultimately the yield and quality at the end of the day. So we caught up with Redmond of Anderson's Consulting to get his views on the issues currently facing farmers.
Arable farmers have had 2 years where their harvests have been lower than they had planned or anticipated or worked towards. They have to play catch up in terms of profitability and balance sheet as well. We now have a situation where a fairly large arable crop, winter crop, has gone in the ground. The condition is for most people fairly good. That condition needs to be protected, the yield potential needs to be looked after, so that come harvest 2014 the farmer will have plenty of grain to sell. Even if the prices are low, if they've got a full barns, there's a greater opportunity for them to add value, bring those profitabilities back up, hopefully to where they are budgeting for them to be.
So to help you protect your cereal investment, Syngenta are putting together a series of videos during the season where we will be visiting the sites here at the innovation centres and also taking on expert advice from external people to help you maximise your returns this season. So each month, prior to each key decision-making timing, we're going to be coming here into the innovation centre to have a look at the issues facing us at that time in terms of crop growth, weed growth and disease management. So that's all for this episode. Look out for the next video which will address the issues facing farmers as we approach the T0 timing in wheat and barley.